All right, you asked for it, so I'm gonna do it. This is part one of my list of the best trash talkers in UFC history. First off, I hate the term trash talk. I just don't like it. But I guess we all know what somebody means when they say Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. Well, they talked a ton of trash at yesterday's press conference. So let's go with that for now. Now, fighters talk crap to each other usually for one or more of these three reasons. Number one, to sell the fight. No matter what the purists say, we all love this shit. Yes, MMA should be about the best versus the best. But isn't it always even better when the two best fighters absolutely hate each other? Doesn't it add to the excitement, the anticipation when two elite warriors have promised victory in such an over-the-top way that now it's not just about a win bonus, it's about pride. Listen, fights, they're won with technique, speed, strength, reflexes, and of course punching power, but they are sold with words. The reality is ESPN Sports Center isn't going to play a lot of boring, well, I've trained really hard and made the best man win platitudes. When a camera is pointed at you as a fighter, you should always try and have something worth listening to say. And look, listen, selling the fight doesn't have to be selling your next fight. It can also mean selling the idea of the fight that you actually want. Talking crap about a big star, a champion, or a huge pay-per-view draw is a way to get the fans, the media, and ultimately the UFC interested in that fight actually taking place. But that approach isn't without its risks. I mean, come on, just ask Jeremy Stephens.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
The second reason fighters talk crap is to build themselves up, to protect confidence, and to feel more confident about how the fight is going to go down. As a very wise, handsome samurai once told me, if you can conceive it, you can believe it. Well, you can bloody well achieve it.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
The third objective that most fighters are working towards when when they fire zingers in the build-up is to try and hurt the confidence of their opponent, to tear them down a peg, to make them doubt themselves. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. There are many ways of going about this, but the most obvious are reminding your opponents about the time that they got knocked out or that they lost in an embarrassing fashion. Fighters also go after opponents about, their age, they're too old, they are too young, they haven't had enough fights in the UFC, they haven't got the experience, or whatever the case is.
Am I saying he's scared? Maybe.
Whatever it is, identify a mental weak spot and fire verbal bullets at it. But you've got to be funny, or at least original, with how you go about all this, because I'm going to knock you out, maybe fighting words if you're an orthodontist, but it is almost a job description of any mixed martial arts fighter and can fall really flat on your face if it doesn't get delivered properly.
I hope to God you come ready, because if you don't, I'm going to beat you into the living death.
Alright guys, I want to tell you about Raycon's everyday earbuds. Let me tell you, these things look fantastic, they feel fantastic, but most importantly, they sound fantastic. Now, listen, look at my ears. One of the drawbacks of being a professional mixed martial artist is yes, you get punched, yes, you get kicked, you might lose eyeballs, but you get cauliflower ears, and a lot of people talk about them. Anyway, that aside, one of the problems that I have is that headphones, certainly earbuds, do not fit in. So I'm going to unbox the Raycons here, open them up. These things are absolutely beautiful, and I'm telling you, these things just go in there like that. Absolute piece of cake. In they go, and I'm telling you, they stay in. My ears are a mess. I can shake, I can shadow box, I can do whatever I want. I'm all over the place. The Raycon's everyday earbuds, they stay in place all of the time. These things have over 50,000 5-star reviews. They have 8 hours of playtime and 32 hours of battery life. What I like about these as well is the earbud tap function. You can skip songs, turn up and down, all at the push of a button. So you can enjoy your music and your videos with quality stereo sound enhancement with passive noise isolation. So it is just you and your music, because Raycon earbuds block out background noise like no other, making it easy to focus on your work, your hobbies, or your fitness. Listen, these things come in at about half the price of premium earbuds. So they look good, they sound good, they stay in the ears, and they're good for your wallet. So look, listen, if you're on the market for some premium quality earbuds, some that stay in your ears, whether or not you've got cauliflower ears or not, if you're looking for a great bargain, you're looking for a great product, you want headphones that are going to sound incredible and be very convenient, then you got to go to buyraycon.com/Bisping, and that's going to get you 15% off. Buyraycon.com/Bisping for 15% off, or just click the link in the episode description down below. So, let's get into it. Number 10, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Now, recency bias may be factoring into this choice here, but it is hard to think of too many other fighters who have captured the imagination of UFC fans quite like the Baddy Paddy Pimblett has. The reality is, he's one of the most talked about and most Googled fighters on the UFC roster, and he's only had a handful of fights in the UFC. Really is incredible. His performances, listen, so far, they've been electrifying. But if you're a young, promising talent, well, isn't that the idea? They should all be electrifying. But what is setting the Baddy apart is his ability to connect with an audience, even when he's not fighting, right? The Paddy has that cheeky scouse charisma, that cheeky scouse humor working for him, and he has the type of belief that draws an audience in. Some love it, I do. But even if you don't like it at all, you have a strong emotional reaction to the guy, and that is what promotion is all about.
But yeah, I knew this was going to happen, lad. Knew this was coming. I've envisioned all this, lad. I can't wait to get my hand raised on Saturday and when there's pandemonium in the crowd.
I interviewed Paddy in the Octagon after his first win in the UFC when he took a massive shot from Luigi Vendramini to win inside the very first round. I mean, can you imagine all the adrenaline and emotions that were going through his head? And he still came up with a line that was so good that it instantly became a meme.
I'm a scouser. We don't get knocked out.
Right? And that confidence is only growing as he keeps getting more and more fights.
He gets finished sharpish, lad. Sharpish. He's not on my level. It's as simple as that. He's garbage compared to me, lad.
Just wait until Paddy reaches main event status and he's doing massive PR tours, right? He's not even done one of those big press conferences with Dana White. Can you imagine? Hundreds of media and thousands of fans to play off. And then combine that, right, if he goes up against another fighter that can also talk. I mean, come on. Then that is when we are really going to be in for a full frontal assault on the earlobes from Paddy the Baddy. And the reality is also that he says some very nice, profound things. Who can forget Saturday night when he beat Jordan Levitt at UFC London, where he gave a very, very powerful message about men not committing suicide and confronting your mental health. Well said, Paddy. Number 9, Brock Lesnar. At 6'5", walking around at 280 pounds of muscle, Brock Lesnar basically looks like a giant condom stuffed with walnuts. Only if giant condoms were decorated with 2 of the ugliest tattoos that you will ever see in your life. And listen, I mean all of that as a total compliment, because what I'm really saying is Brock Lesnar does not need words to intimidate his opponent. Just walking into the room, the reality is that was enough to intimidate people. But few UFC champions extended their rivals the same disdain as Lesnar.
Frank Mir had a horseshoe up his ass!
And if you think as a WWE guy, he'd be all in on doing over-the-top promos, peppered with witty but well-scripted insults, and doing his best to entertain you in interviews, well, you'd be wrong. Brock Lesnar's interviews and press conference appearances, the reality is they were as blunt as the hammer fist that he delivered during his UFC heavyweight title reign. This is a man who couldn't give a fuck who likes or dislikes him.
I love it! Keep going! Keep going! I love it, man!
This guy just said whatever came to his mind in as direct a way as possible. Because basically, what the hell was anybody going to do about it?
I was wondering how many rounds you were able to spar for this fight. Because
3,000.
Okay.
3,000.
That's impressive.
Nobody was safe from Brock Lesnar's verbal abuse. Not the media.
What did you say?
Not the UFC sponsors.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
And certainly not even his own team when he coached the Ultimate Fighter.
Is it dislocated or is it torn?
Well, maybe hog time up.
Insulting, rude, obnoxious. Well, that was Brock Lesnar. Just doing what Brock Lesnar does. Number 8, Quinton Rampage Jackson. In a good mood, because Rampage does have not so good moods, especially when he's cutting weight or he has to do any form of physical exercise. But in a good mood, he is cracking jokes all the time. He's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
On one thing I eat wet. It's my cereal.
I trained with Rampage for several years and we have appeared on multiple UFC events together. We cornered each other, we've hung out, and he likes to make people laugh and he's a born entertainer.
I need a big dick strap. This is for little kids. I got a humongous dick and I got big balls.
One of his go-tos for comedy is making someone feel very awkward. You do not want to say the wrong thing around Rampage because he will turn you into a meme in a heartbeat.
I ain't been this ripped in a long time. I'm taking. He just said,
Rampage has never met an awkward situation or an awkward moment that he didn't want to make the person feel worse and then exploit them for more comedic purposes.
I guess I would choose that camera guy.
And a big part of his humor involves saying shocking or insensitive things out loud.
So the blacks and the Jews, we have a real connection.
I know, black people got big, y'all got big noses.
The funny thing is, he didn't usually mock his opponents because when it came to fighting, he was suddenly more serious and the jokes went away. That's why he was so ferocious. He said the difference was when he was Quinton, he wasn't in fight mode. But Rampage, that's who really came out for his fights. And Rampage didn't do humor, even at the expense of his opponents in the form of trash talk. He was very serious. One of the exceptions though was Rashad Evans, who Rampage absolutely hated they hated each other when they fought one another and when they coached The Ultimate Fighter in 2010.
I'm gonna make you quit.
You gonna make me quit?
I'm gonna make you quit.
You gonna make me quit?
I'm gonna make you quit.
I'm glad you're thinking that way.
It's like you quit in this competition and you quit on your fighters.
I ain't quitting nothing,
That's how
baby.
exactly how you gonna quit.
I ain't quitting nothing. Hey, Rashad, last fight.
Yeah, Rashad's last fight, he did the stanky leg in the fight.
Hey, y'all boys bad, boy.
For inventing the term stanky leg alone, Rampage is in my top 10. Number 7, Nate Diaz. Now, Nate Diaz is one of the most uniquely charismatic characters in UFC history, and if anything, is actually underestimated when it comes to his talents in talking his way into huge money fights. Look, Nate Diaz, he might not be the best to ever do it, and I'm just stating facts here, right? He's 4-6 over the last decade in the UFC. He fights infrequently, and he was not really competitive in his one title shot versus Benson Henderson in 2012. Not talking shit, facts. But Nate's fighting style, his swagger, and his attitude make all of that totally irrelevant. He always had an attitude and that kind of street cool to him, but when he called out Conor McGregor and then accepted the fight on 2 weeks' notice and then choked out the biggest star in the sport, Nate Diaz arrived as an absolute megastar. And then he summed up the whole thing with one of the very best one-liners in UFC history.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
The fact that Nate doesn't give a shit about being a star is a huge part of why he has become one of the UFC's biggest stars of all time. He's authentic, he's unrehearsed, he's unfiltered. Nate is way more surgical with his insults than he is often given credit for. Conor McGregor is rightly proud of his accomplishments in the UFC. And so here comes Nate with a giant 1-2 combination to discredit all of that.
You knocked out midgets.
First, he says McGregor has only fought midgets, which is a hell of a way to talk about Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, and Chad Mendes. And then he follows up with a totally unproved accusation that McGregor uses banned performance enhancers. McGregor is one of the best ever at weaponing an audience to laugh at his opponents, but Diaz was able to turn this fire back at the Irishman several times.
Playing touch butt with that dork in the park.
And as an honourable mention, I've got to say that his big brother, Nick Diaz, the legend, has also given us all a belly laugh or two over the years with his own idiosyncratic way with words. Who can forget his rant about the unfairness of fining him for smoking weed when all the other fighters were getting away with using performance-enhancing drugs?
All you motherfuckers on steroids.
Together, the Diaz brothers have given us years of entertainment inside and outside the octagon, and I cannot wait for Nate's next fight against Khamzat Chimaev. Number 6, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal's effectiveness as a smack talker comes from two things. First, when Jorge insults you, he only not means it with every fibre of his being, but you can bet your life that he intends to follow that insult up with his fists. Look, If you don't believe me, just ask Colby Covington and his potentially fake Rolex. Trust me, I have had 2 run-ins with Gamebred myself. Before we talked it over, this man absolutely means every harsh word that comes out of his mouth, right? He is authentic. And the second thing that puts Jorge so high on this list is the way that he phrases things. Well, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. I mean, come on. Who else, when asked if a brutal follow-up attack to an already deeply unconscious Ben Askren was really necessary, who else would reply with,
"It was super necessary"?
And who else would downplay assaulting a fellow athlete backstage at a UFC London event with the phrase,
"Give him the 3-piece with the soda"?
Jorge has given us some great fights to remember him by, but I am positive MMA fans will be using terms like super necessary and a 3-piece and a soda for years to come. Okay, there it is. Numbers 10 to 6. I'll be coming back with the top 5 very, very soon, but you let me know in the comments what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think? Anyway, take care.